It has been a great weekend so far for the NFL playoffs. I thought all three games on Saturday were phenomenal. We're going to recap the entire wild card weekend on Tuesday, but today I wanted to talk about what's going on with Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. I say on here all the time that contracts in the NBA, at least when you're talking about superstar level players, NBA contracts aren't worth the paper that they're written on. Now, don't get me wrong. The contracts are great for the player. I mean, it's fully guaranteed money. But for the team, the contracts are meaningless. If a superstar player in the NBA is unhappy with the organization or the progression of the franchise, all he's got to do is publicly demand a trade, and the team is automatically in a bind. We saw it with Anthony Davis a couple of years ago in New Orleans. It is the opposite in the NFL. Contracts in the NFL favor the team more than they favor the player. We don't see superstar players in the NFL demand trades as often as we see it in the NBA. In the NFL, a team can cut you without cause. Now, they might take a massive cap hit for doing it, but they can still cut you and get out of your contract. Deshaun Watson signed a massive extension with the Houston Texans before last season. And while I understood why he signed the deal, I mean, he wanted the security to set himself up for life financially. If he got injured, he was financially secure. That's why he signed the deal, unlike somebody like Dak Prescott. So I understood why Deshaun Watson signed that contract. But I still felt like it was a mistake, because he signed the contract with the wrong team. The Houston Texans are a disaster. Bad ownership, bad hiring of general managers. They kept the worst head coach in the NFL around for far too long. Not only did they keep Bill O'Brien around for too long, they actually promoted him to general manager. Check out just some of the mind-boggling decisions that Bill O'Brien made during his tenure in Houston. He gave Brock Osweiler a $72 million contract. John Elway and the Broncos, they could not believe it. They gladly let the Texans take Brock Osweiler. Then Bill O'Brien traded Jadeveon Clowney, which was a huge blow to the Texans' defense. The Texans, they had Tyrann Mathieu back in 2018, and dude is a baller. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu is a baller. He had a great season in Houston. Now remember, Bill O'Brien gave $72 million to Brock Osweiler, a confirmed bum. He didn't want to pay the Honey Badger, who actually liked playing in Houston. He wanted to stay there. Bill O'Brien decided that he wanted to go cheap in the 2019 offseason, and he let the Honey Badger walk to Kansas City, where, of course, he was instrumental in the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Then, you have that trade last summer that will go down as one of the worst trades in the history of the NFL. Bill O'Brien traded DeAndre Hopkins to Arizona. And in return, he got a broken down running back and a second-round draft pick. Simply put, Bill O'Brien set the Houston Texans back years. The Texans don't have a first or a second-round draft pick in the next two drafts. This team is nowhere near Super Bowl contention. Hell, the Texans are nowhere near playoff contention right now. We talked about J.J. Watt last week. Sunday morning, I posted a video saying that J.J. Watt was playing his final game with the Texans. I said that he needed to get the hell out of Houston and end his career playing with a Super Bowl contender. Now, Deshaun Watson is many, many years younger than J.J. Watt, but I feel the same way about him. He needs to stop wasting his time in Houston and get to a well-run franchise immediately. Deshaun Watson is far too talented to waste the prime years of his career playing for a poorly run franchise. And I think that he knows it. Reports are beginning to come out that Deshaun Watson is becoming more and more frustrated with the Texans. He was pissed when they traded DeAndre Hopkins without even consulting him or even having the decency to give him a heads up that they were going to do it. He found out about that deal the same time that you and I did. This week, Texans owner Cal McNair hired former Patriots executive Nick Caserio. He brought him in to solve a large set of problems. Solve a large set of problems with the Texans. That's an understatement. This franchise has a load of problems. Good luck with that. You think they consulted Deshaun Watson about hiring the former Patriots executive? No. He actually went to Cal McNair and offered his input on potential general manager candidates. Now, he wasn't expecting the Texans to hire them just because he recommended them, but he at least expected Kyle McNair to consider his candidates. And the owner just blew Deshaun Watson off. Now, the Texans have to hire a head coach. Do you think they're going to consult with Deshaun Watson? If history tells us anything, the answer to that question is no. And this is a major, major problem. And another example of why the Texans are one of the worst run franchises in the NFL. Do you think Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton make personnel decisions in New Orleans without consulting Drew Brees? Hell no! Now, that doesn't mean everything Drew Brees says goes, or every player he wants they bring in. But not only by consulting Drew Brees does it show that they value him and his opinion, but they know personnel decisions directly impact him. That's why they consult him. Is Sean Payton out there throwing the ball to receivers or running backs or tight ends? No, it's Drew Brees. You think Drew Brees wasn't instrumental in getting both Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara paid? Especially Kamara. The Saints don't pay running backs. That's why they let Mark Ingram walk a couple of years ago. Brees knew how important Alvin Kamara was to this offense. He got him his money, and look what happened. He is having a career year. When you have a franchise quarterback, and make no mistake, Deshaun Watson is a franchise quarterback. He's the only franchise quarterback in the history of the Texans franchise. But when you have a guy like that, you pay him, which the Texans did, they paid him, but you also include him in the decision-making process when it comes to personnel decisions. The Texans are not doing that. And you couple that with trading DeAndre Hopkins and the other blunders that I mentioned earlier, and the fact that this team isn't anywhere close to Super Bowl contention, and you have the perfect recipe for a disgruntled Deshaun Watson. There's one problem, though, with Deshaun Watson getting out of Houston ASAP, and that's his contract. If Houston were to trade him, they would have to absorb a salary cap hit of $22 million. Now, on one hand, trading Deshaun Watson could help their problem when it comes to draft picks. They could acquire some first, maybe some second-round picks in exchange for Deshaun Watson. But I can't see the Texans taking a $22 million cap hit. Though, I mean, this is the Houston Texans that we're talking about. They have made dumber decisions in the past. So the contract is going to be a problem. But what if there was a team willing to help the Texans out a little bit financially? What if there was a team willing to pay a premium to rescue Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans? The San Francisco 49ers might be that team. For one, I mean, they need a quarterback. Jimmy G's days in San Francisco are done. And CJ Beathard or Nick Mullins, neither one of those guys is the answer. The Niners have too much talent, too good of a defense to languish around the 500 mark because they don't have a franchise quarterback. Now, I know Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk shot down the idea of the Niners trading for Deshaun Watson because his contract is untradeable. But John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have proven over the last few years that they're not afraid to break the bank to get players that they value. They made their fullback the highest paid fullback in the history of the NFL. They broke the bank for Jerick McKinnon. Did the same thing with Quan Alexander. Then, of course, they traded him to New Orleans. Not only that, they have proven that they aren't afraid to let go of draft picks to acquire players that they think can help them win a Super Bowl. They did just that with Trent Williams, Emmanuel Sanders, Dee Ford. My point is, if any team in the NFL is not afraid to break the bank for Deshaun Watson, it's the San Francisco 49ers. So I wouldn't count them out. I think they'll go after him this offseason. If it's not the Niners, though, Deshaun Watson has got to find a way to get the hell out of Houston. If he has to restructure his contract to make it happen, fine. Do whatever it takes. NFL careers are short. You are one injury away from never stepping foot on a football field again. Why, if you're Deshaun Watson, why waste your time? Why waste your career with a poorly run franchise that clearly doesn't respect you? All right, that's all for today. Hit that like and subscribe button. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Leave me a comment in the section below. Will Deshaun Watson find a way out of Houston this offseason? Or do you think the Texans will refuse to trade him if he demands that? What do you think will happen? Let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Best way to contact me is by email at BTLKC84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys next time.